Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Dishing with Diamonds. And before we get started, of course, y'all, I have to say that this episode is not corporate sponsored. We are only sharing our personal experiences with Plexus in regards to both the income structure and the product side, the health and wellness side of it. And it is my absolute pleasure to introduce, first of all, my friend, second of all, my Plexus sister and Diamond sister, Cheyenne. Cheyenne, thank you so much for being here today.
Rainey, thank you for asking me. I am honored that you even reached out to me and asked me to do this. So thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely. Cheyenne and I actually ranked to Diamond right around the same time, and we've been on this Plexus journey together. And so honestly, Cheyenne, I could not imagine not asking you to do this, because I feel like we, every time we get together, and y'all, we chatted for probably 10 minutes before we started this call. We are connected, we get one another, and so like I said, it's just my complete joy to have her on. And so we'll definitely try to be courteous of time for everyone. But she and I can get to talking, y'all. So
it can be dangerous.
It can be dangerous, exactly. So we're going to get started into the questions. And so Cheyenne, our first one for you is, describe what life looked like for you pre-Plexus.
Okay. Well, I don't know if y'all know this, but I am a mom of 2 girls. I've been married now for over 20 years. But before Plexus, I was a kindergarten teacher, and I had taught for 15 years. Loved my job. But I had always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but it just was not in the plans. We were living paycheck to paycheck. It was a good paycheck to paycheck between mine and Kevin's income, but we were living paycheck to paycheck. I was always tired. I would come home after school. Literally, Kevin called it my cave. I would go into our bedroom, turn off the lights, and just sit and watch TV while, the rest of the day went on without me. And he would come home, we would do dinner, and by 8 or 8:30, I was laying down, and a lot of times it was before my kids even went to bed. I was just totally exhausted. And so, that's what our days looked like. It was work, come home, spend a tiny bit of time with our girls and with Kevin, and then go to bed. And then get up and do it all over again. So I really had that desire to stay home, but it just wasn't possible at the time.
I think so many of us can relate to that lifestyle, although you said healthy paycheck to paycheck, still paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling tired and, almost more of a slave to the clock than anything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you get introduced to Plexus?
So in May of 2013, Celeste called me. I had met her back in 2010 when Kevin went on his first mission trip to Vietnam. Celeste was there. I would see her occasionally at fundraising events, but I didn't know her well. Well, in May of 2013, she messaged me. My girls and I were going on a month-long trip to Vietnam, and she asked me to take Plexus to a mutual friend of ours in Vietnam. I think that was a smart move on her part. Whether she meant to do it or not, I think it was a smart move. I wanted to know what Plexus was, and at the time we all thought it was just about weight loss. And so I started stalking Celeste's page and saw that she had lost weight. She looked amazing. And so I messaged her and told her I wanted to try it. And that's how I started as a customer. And then I started it, and 3 days later, I had lost 3 pounds, and I just posted on Facebook. I don't think I realized at the time we were a network marketing company. I wasn't trying to sell anything. I was just amazed that a product worked for me, and I had a friend that wanted to buy it. And so Celeste said, you need to sign up. And after arguing with her for a few minutes, I ended up signing up. So I just wanted to make enough to cover for my products.
It's awesome. It's so funny that you said that, kind of after pushing back on her for a minute or so, you just did it. Celeste always says, I'm kind of bossy. And so I guess that's another example, but it's a good bossy, right? I mean,
right.
It wasn't for, it definitely benefited us for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and that's where me not being a leader really came in handy before Plexus, because she said, do it. And after a few minutes of pushing back, I was like, okay, You told me I'll do it.
Little did we know what an amazing, consent of okay that would become, right?
Right.
So walk us through your Plexus journey. So you started off as a customer. You posted one thing. Somebody wanted to buy from you. Celeste said, sign up. You said, okay. Then what happened?
So then I left for Vietnam. I didn't have any training, and she just said post on Facebook. That's what we knew it to do at the time. And y'all have to remember that Celeste had just started in March, so we were all learning together. So I did. I posted on Facebook. I think I copied probably everything she posted, and I would just post what she posted. And my business started growing, and I ended up, while I was in Vietnam, with my first ambassador, Kim Wilson. She had been in a previous network marketing company, so she started helping me along as well. And all of a sudden, before you know it, Kim was silver, and her best friend messaged me and said, can I post it Kim is silver? And I said, well, sure, but what does that mean? I mean, y'all, I was so clueless. And so she told me, and she's the one who posted about Kim going silver. And I thought, well, if she can do it, I can do it. I want to do that. And when I got home, it was just like my business started exploding. I ended up going silver in July. In August, I went gold, senior gold. In September, October, I went ruby. That was at Leaders Retreat, and that was so much fun. November, senior ruby. January, I went emerald, so that was in 7 months. In 9 months, so 2 months later, in March, I went sapphire. And in 11 months total, I went diamond, and that was at convention in Dallas, and that was amazing. Now that's a fun part of my journey. That was exciting. We were in full momentum. I just remember always messaging you, Rainey, and asking you questions. And I mean, it was like you would rank and then I would rank after you, and just so much fun. And I tell you all of that not to say, ooh, look at me, look at what I did in 11 months, because it wasn't me. So during that time, I was still teaching, and I was keeping my head above water, just moving forward. And I think I've told Rainey this earlier, but I truly thought my business was my business, my ambassadors' business were their businesses. I mean, I would post on my team page, but I wasn't leading. But we were in full momentum, and it was exciting. Well, at Dallas Convention, right after I went diamond, I knew I was quitting my job, but then my husband told me he was going to quit his job. And so panic started to set in about insurance. And then I got my car, and I thought, oh my goodness, now I have this huge car payment that I never would have had. And so what if started setting in? What if I go backwards? What if I can't hold rank? What if, and I didn't do that in the first 11 months. The first 11 months I'd say, oh, I'm going to hit this the next month. And lo and behold, I'd do it. It was just positive all the way through. And then when I hit diamond, all these crazy thoughts started filling my head. Well, by August, I started going backwards, and those fears started coming true. And I thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Well, then I was in panic mode. And from August to December, it was like trying to just hold my head above water. It was my first year of not teaching. And so, my husband, Kevin, would always tell me, he's like, your joy is not in a rank. Your joy is not in numbers. It is only found in the Lord. That's the only place you're going to find true joy. Well, he kept telling me that, and I wanted to listen. But y'all, it was a struggle. And by Christmas of 2014, I lost diamond by 9 points. And I was so humiliated. I was so devastated and embarrassed. I couldn't even reach out to my team and ask for help. Guys, that would have been 2 people that needed to hit their points, but I couldn't do it. Number one, I hadn't made that team culture where we could rely on each other like that. But then I was embarrassed. I thought I was the only diamond or the only jewel in Plexus that had ever struggled. And so the very next, I guess in December, I finally reached out to Sarah Marble, because she is personal development queen. And I asked her, what do I do? I told her my story, and I only told very few people because I was so just embarrassed. And she told me books to read. She told me videos to watch. And she really helped me in that, because I had not been doing personal development. And so started personal development, and then I reached out to Kim Wilson, my very first level 1. And she had actually met Leslie Zan in a previous network marketing company. And she reached out to Leslie, and Leslie Zan started coaching me and Kim. And so at this time, I started learning so much and really pouring myself into personal development. So in January, I got diamond back, but from January to August, I just hovered at diamond points. And every month it was like, oh, please, God, please let me hit it. Let me hit it. Well, by August of next summer, I lost it again by like 13 points maybe. I was still embarrassed. I still hadn't shared my story with too many people. But at that point, it clicked. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm learning so much about me, about this company, about just network marketing in general. And I'm not sharing these things with my team. So I started sharing my story, and I started sharing everything that I started learning. And thankfully, along the way, I had amazing leaders already leading very well. But I started praying at that point to be the leader that God had designed me to be. I had never wanted to be a leader. And so taking on that role was something I really had to work towards. And so in August of 2015, I really started trying to be the leader that I was supposed to be. Apologized to a lot of my level ones, just, for not leading and for not leading well. And y'all, it was crazy. We started seeing momentum, and not because of me. I guarantee it wasn't because of me. It's because we had fabulous leaders on our team. But last spring, we saw incredible growth again, and I was actually able to re-enter start my second position. So it has been a crazy journey. It's been a great journey, but you know what? I mean, in the beginning, I would have said, I would never share that story. I never wanted to live that, but now I'm so glad I did, because my journey took off so fast that first 11 months. I didn't know how to relate to other people in their journey. So through the hard times is when I've grown the most in Plexus.
I love that, because it's so real. And I think that we have to remind ourselves too. I love the transparency there of just, hey, you can make it to the top, and guess what? There's still struggles, and that doesn't mean don't try to make it to the top. That just,
right.
Hey, this when we say the struggle is real, it's real everywhere, right? It's not like maybe you get to breathe a little bit when you get there, but it's a different kind of struggle. And so I just appreciate you for sharing that. And also, what I love about that story is the hope and the determination, and that just because you lose momentum doesn't mean you can't regain it.
Right.
And absolutely. That we really do grow the most when we have struggle.
I totally agree. And there were days I wanted to be done because it was my pride and my ego, and I just wanted to be done. Let me go back to teaching where I can be successful, where I felt successful daily. Obviously when I was teaching, I didn't always have successful days, but in my head, that's how I can play it out. But I'm so thankful I just kept going and moving forward, and really focused on how I could be a better leader instead of turning it on somebody else and saying, well, my team's not working, or, because they were, but they were following somebody that wasn't leading well, so.
I so get that. Well, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of your journey, and have been proud to walk beside you. And
wow, you've taught me a lot in this journey.
So the feeling is absolutely mutual. So I appreciate that, but please know, I feel like I've learned as much from you as you have from me. So let's talk about, and I think especially now for this group hearing your story, this advice coming from you will be so, I think, impactful. How do you stay motivated? Because you've certainly had those challenges where, feeling motivated may not have always been the top feeling,
right.
the top emotion. So how do you now, having been through amazing times with Plexus and challenges, how do you stay motivated?
So first of all, I have to stay in the Word. For me, having my quiet time and staying in the Word is the most important thing I can do all day. But I also, after that, then pouring into myself with personal development, taking that 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day. I have to do that, or that motivation's not there. Getting involved with my team and just loving on them and helping them grow, that motivates me, because now I get to experience their joys with them instead of seeing it from afar. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. before, like I said, I thought my business was my business and their business was their business. But now when I get to help them and I get to see them grow, or they experience, something exciting, I get to do that alongside of them. So that helps me. That makes me want to push forward and help more people. And then, of course, just working with Kevin, he's my power partner, and truly listening to him that joy only comes from the Lord, not from a rank or a number or anything else. So just working with him, those are the things that truly keep me motivated.
I love that. And, I love where you said, and you've said this a couple of times now to me, and it really does stand out, where your business is not just your business. I think often we as ambassadors, and especially when you start growing a team, it's that balance of not feeling like you're somebody's boss, but still staying involved and helping people be accountable, as well as yourself be accountable.
Right.
And so I get that, that balance of, I'm not telling you what to do.
Right.
And so, yeah, again, I appreciate you highlighting that, because I think so often we have those feelings, we don't know how to verbalize them or why we're feeling the way we are. Do you have a go-to motivational phrase?
I don't have a motivational phrase, but I do have 2 verses that truly just keep me on track. So the first one is 2 Corinthians 5:7, and it says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." And what I've seen is, just like with the Lord, we never know what he's doing behind the scenes. We can only trust that he has our good, because he tells us that, but he has our good in mind, and he wants everything to work for our good. But same with our business. We can't see those seeds that are being planted daily. So I have to remind myself that even though I can't see it, I am planting seeds, and I am working on growing my business, whether I reap those benefits now or a year from now. And then the second verse is 1 Corinthians 10:31, and it says, "Whatever you do, do it for the glory of God." And he's given us each and every day. And so I just want to work for him and find joy in that day for him. And when I do that, it's easier to work my business daily,
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. I so appreciate that. And, you said, I love the verses, first of all, but in there you also referenced how staying in activity, you don't see necessarily the fruits of your labor. You're planting seeds today, but we don't know necessarily when they will take harvest. We don't know what action today will lead till tomorrow. But what I do know is that if we don't stay in activity, then we don't get to reap those harvests.
Right.
Growing up, my mom always used to say, God helps those that help themselves. You can't there's no longer do we live in the day of the parting of the sea and, water turning into wine and, taking a loaf of bread and feeding the masses. And so you have to, you have to put that effort in. And that wasn't super biblical on her end, because she was just saying, don't be lazy. God's going to help you, but you got to do your part. And so
that's true.
Same thing in our business as well. Nobody in this business got a lottery ticket, I assure you.
Absolutely.
Those that appear maybe to have.
Right.
Not. It's all been work.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some business tips.
Okay.
So you share some with us?
Absolutely. So my first one is to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you at all. Whether it's a customer, whether it's your ambassadors, friends, anyone. So that's something that I've really had to work on, is believing in myself. So that I think is one of the most important. But also you need to believe in Plexus, in network marketing, and just our products. So build your belief in yourself, in your products, in our business, in the company, any way that you can by, obviously it's going to come from personal development. So read your books, listen to your audios, just really pour into yourself in that way so that you do grow that belief. Another one is be bold and get out of your comfort zone. Y'all, this business has pushed me out of my comfort zone. I can't tell you how many times, but I'm so glad it did. I'm finding out new things about myself all the time. So I think it's so important to be bold and be proud of Plexus and just share. If public speaking is not your thing, start small and get bigger. If just talking to people one-on-one is a struggle for you, work hard to work up to that and start talking to people about Plexus. We truly have gold in our hands with this business and with these products. So I think just being bold and sharing and being proud of Plexus is important. And then the third thing, and these are all things that I've struggled with, that's why they're so important to me, but be the leader that God has designed you to be. I never wanted a leadership position. I was totally fine with being the yes person, and you tell me what to do, and if I believe in what you're doing, I will follow, and I will follow wholeheartedly. But God did give me a leadership position. And so I think it's important for you, as soon as you have one customer, as soon as you have one ambassador, you are a leader. And I just challenge you to lead with all your heart and to lead well. So work on yourself, goes back to personal development. Work on yourself to be that leader. So
I love that. And, God has intended us, he created us to rock at the end of the day, and like you said, Plexus is about leadership. And the cool thing I think about how we start in our business, it's for those of us out there that are mommies and daddies, we get these babies, most of us get them at an infant stage, and so we have that opportunity to grow with our children, most of the time, right? And so it's the same thing in our Plexus business. You have the opportunity to grow with your business. And so no one's asking you to step on stage and talk to 1,000 people your first day into Plexus, and who knows, you may not take your business to that level. That's the beauty of this, is that you may be completely content at growing your business to supplement your income by $100 or $200.
Absolutely.
That's okay too, right?
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of this.
Right. I totally agree.
Changing lives. I've had too many people leave this business, in my opinion, too early, because the journey became more about their rank, more about the money they were making, when originally they got into this because they felt better and they wanted other people to feel better. And then somewhere along the line, that focus changed and it became more about, how this was, affecting their four walls, and so I always tell people, look outside of your four walls.
Yes.
How it's affecting the world, the ripple effect on just you talking to that one person. That one person, how many people will change because of that one person you were bold about talking to?
Oh, that's so good.
So, okay, well, let's talk about the people you personally sponsored. You and I kind of talked about this prior to the call. But will you share with everyone just what that looks like, maybe where you started, where you are today? I gleaned off of this info, so will you share that?
Absolutely. So I've personally sponsored over 100 level one. Some of those have been taken out of our back office, so it's hard to keep up with exactly how many. But right now I have 23 active level ones. And out of that 23, and y'all, my first leaders retreat, Eric Warre, you probably remember this, Rainey. He was telling us how this would happen, and I thought, well, he hadn't seen my back office. He didn't know my people, and here it is. It's totally the truth, and this is normal. I have about, out of those 23 active, I have about 8 that say they want it, and I can tell they want it. And out of those 8, I have about 6 that are jogging along, and out of those 6, I have 4 that are truly runners. So I remember when he was saying all of that, I thought, he is crazy. I will never have all these white lines. No. And sure enough, over the years, that's what's happened. And people that I just knew would stick around, didn't stick around. And people that I never in a million years would see or thought I would see in a leadership role have jumped up to this leadership position, and they are running at full speed. So it's encouraging and it's crazy, but those are the people you want to link arms with for sure.
Absolutely. The biggest surprises are in this business. I say both good I never like to say bad. I like to reframe that with challenging, so that you will be surprised in a challenging way and then in just exuberant ways as well.
Right.
Surprises abound for sure. So this is a fun question. I like this question. So since becoming Diamond, we know that it gives us some freedoms, and I know that Cheyenne, out of so many of the Diamonds, you are what I consider very charitable and very benevolent. But I want you to share with the team, what is one fun thing you've been able to do that's impacted your four walls with your Diamond money?
Okay. So something fun that I've been able to do. And it's so cheesy. Everybody probably already does it. I don't usually go out. I mean, a lot of our income goes towards our adoption or towards going on mission trips, which is incredible to me. That is such a blessing. And recently, I mean, over the last year and a half, it's gone to paying JC's college tuition. So for me, that's fun, not having to have JC get loans and grants. But something that I splurged on that was just fun for me is, for the first time ever, I actually went to Charlotte Tilbury, and I went to the makeup counter, and I bought all the makeup that they suggested. And y'all, that's so not me, but that for me is fun. And I know most of you are going, I do that all the time anyways, but most people don't put CVS makeup on their face like I do. So, but for me, that was so much fun and so exciting. And we were always doing little things here and there that I think, oh my goodness, we wouldn't be able to do this without Plexus. So there's not really a huge splurge or,
I think that's huge, though. I personally think that's huge. I think it's so much fun when you're able to do something big or small that you wouldn't have normally been able to do. And I don't know that I've ever shared this with this group. The one thing I do now that is really, from a monetary perspective, not a big deal, but has become one for me because it's something I never, ever would have done before. I get my hair blown out once a week. And so to me, that's like a big deal because I do it right before the weekend. And so I don't have to worry about my hair all weekend. And for me, it's just the one thing that I do that I didn't do before Plexus. That just feels good. And I like doing it. It's not like I stopped. So one thing I stopped doing here in the last, 4 or 5 months, I stopped getting my nails done because I hated that appointment. I just realized I liked the way my nails looked, but I just genuinely loathed that time to sit there. And so I just said, you know what, we are on these amazing products. I'm going to give that X Factor a chance to really work on my nails. And so far, so good. But, that's one thing I gave up, but I replaced it with my hair. So.
Love it.
But it's not something fun, and it's totally not necessary. Here's the thing. But every single time I sit down in that chair, I'm so grateful because it was not something I would have ever thought to do.
Right.
But it's something I've really just genuinely enjoyed. And y'all know that, so my circumstances getting into Plexus, they were stressful. And my hair was a mess. And I ended up getting it chopped off into like an angled bob. And so it's been nice to be able to then not be in a stressful situation and see the difference in my hair too. Is that kind of crazy? So it's kind of like that has gotten healthier through this Plexus journey. And so I'm very grateful for that.
I love that. And I do like the splurges, it's fun. It's exciting. And it always makes me remember to be thankful for Plexus. 'Cause sometimes we do it day in and day out, and it becomes your life and it becomes your job and it becomes a norm. So I love those times. And when you were talking, I was just thinking, something that for me that I've noticed, and it's almost every morning that it makes me stop and think, oh my goodness, thank you, Lord, for Plexus. It's getting to take Macy to school. I always took JC and Macy to school whenever they were in elementary school, but once they got into middle school, or once JC got into middle school, I could no longer take her. And so now taking her and picking her up, I'll have moms that'll say, oh, I can pick up or I can take, and I'm thinking, that's my time. Like, I didn't get to do it for so long, because whenever I took them when they were in elementary school, it was more, I was focused on my job for the day and not my children. And now I get to take her in the mornings, and I get to pray over her on the way to school because I'm focused on her in that time. And that's probably one of my favorite things from Plexus, honestly. And I know that's so silly to some people because some people have done it forever. But for me, that's a luxury, to get to take her and pick her up daily.
Girl, you speak to my heart on that, because, when I started Plexus, the reality was, right before I started Plexus, I should say, but, I was interviewing, and it became very clear to me how much that routine of taking Sadie to school, and it was a routine that I took for granted. All of a sudden, and I think I've even categorized it as saying the routine, the mundane, all of a sudden became a luxury.
Right.
And, Sadie now is in public school and she takes the bus, but I've carved it out where I drive her to the bus stop.
Right.
Albeit only, a quarter mile down the road, but still, but we leave a little bit early. And so we still have our car time together. Right. And, on bad weather days, I'll go down and pick her up. Either I walk down there or I'll drive down there if it's a bad weather day. And it's still just our time and so I think what we're saying is that, yes, the monies have offered freedoms, but ultimately the freedoms that they bring you are time freedoms.
Absolutely.
And so, I just think that's amazing. And then would you be open to sharing, this wasn't a planned question, a little bit about your adoption? Because I know you referenced it, and I'm pretty sure, because my team doesn't know you as well, would you just maybe give the highlights of that, because I know that will speak to so many people.
Absolutely. So like I told you earlier, in November of 2010, Kevin, my husband, went on his first mission trip, and there he met a little girl named Tram. I was going to grab a picture of her. That's Tram. That's a couple of years ago. But on that trip, he met her, and he fell absolutely head over heels in love with her. And so in January, our girls and I had not met her, but Kevin told us all about her. He came home, he cried every night. Just heartbroken, not only for her, but for Vietnam and the people there. But we started looking in January 2011 for a way to bring her home. Adoption wasn't opened at the time, and so we've been on this crazy journey. And so spring of 2014, I have to get my years right, I took off of work. It was my last year that I was teaching. And I took off for 3 weeks, and I tried to bring Tram home on an education visa. They denied that. So we tried a medical visa. They denied that. Came home just heartbroken. And then in the fall of 2014, adoption opened, and actually mine and Kevin's very first trip to Hawaii. We sat in the room one day, it rained, and we sat in our room and did paperwork. So since September 16th, 2014, we've been actually in the adoption process. That was the day it opened, and we started our paperwork. Well, our journey is crazy long because we had to get her orphanage approved for adoption. It doesn't help that we know her. You would think it would, but it doesn't. It actually hurts us. And so we started our adoption journey, and we are actually just waiting. All of our paperwork's in Vietnam, and it's actually been sitting on a desk in Hanoi since June. And so we've been waiting on this one letter since June. So if you pray, please be praying that we get that letter soon. Hopefully, as soon as we get that letter, we'll have a few more steps, and then it'll be 6 weeks to 3 months to travel to get her. So, 6 weeks to 3 months until we travel to get her. So it could be in the spring. It could be another year. We don't really know. But we do know that God gave her to us and that he's totally blessed us with her. She just turned 14. We're praying it happens soon, though, because she will age out at 16. So we're just praying we get that letter soon and we can go get her.
Well, I now feel really confident that you have several new hundred people that will be praying and standing with you and, cheering you on. And so, I know that story will touch so many hearts. And so I appreciate you sharing that very private journey too.
Thank you.
But one I think that is worthy of sharing because, strength in numbers for sure.
Yeah, we can use all the prayers we can get.
Absolutely, for sure. So one last question for you, and I know you're going to Houston, correct? Yeah, Houston, for Super Saturday, and I'm so excited for you. I know you're going to absolutely rock that stage, and that group of Texans and those that travel are going to be incredibly blessed to hear you. And, we have a few spots open in select cities. So most of the people that are going are registered, but having attended several now yourself, talk to this group about why they should go and what you think they'll get out of their time there.
Okay, so I know you've all heard it a million times, but leaders are born at events. And last Super Saturday, I was actually in Vietnam, and so I missed it. And y'all, talk about major fear of missing out, major FOMO. Oh my goodness. Just seeing the excitement, you're not going to want to miss it. You're going to learn so much. The training is going to be incredible. The excitement, I think we do this sometimes in our business. It's peaks and valleys, and just being around like-minded people is huge. So you're going to get amazing training. You're going to feel the excitement. You're going to make new friends. You're going to hear that third-party validation, which is going to truly just pump you up. It's going to make you think, I am on the right track. Or I need to refocus and get on this track, and that's okay too. We've all been there. But you're going to find support and encouragement like no other. I'm telling you, from missing it once, you don't want to miss it. It's always been our time to kind of go and visit with Tram after Christmas or around Thanksgiving or after Christmas. And this year we're putting it off a little bit until after Super Saturday. It's something you don't want to miss. I'm telling you, just from some of the training that Rainey and I've received so far, the training is going to be mind-blowing. I think it's going to be what everybody needs to hear, including myself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've always said, anytime you have the privilege, and I don't care if it's to a small group of as ambassadors or a larger platform like this, when you're a presenter, I think you grow more than the people that you're presenting it to. And so it's our honor to be able to travel to these cities and be able to spend this valuable time. And I don't know, after hearing Cheyenne speak, I want to get on a plane and go now. Well, we got to get through Christmas first. Not now maybe, but very much anticipating and getting excited for the event, and I'm so excited for those of you that have chosen to invest in yourselves. It will absolutely be well worth it. And so now we are going to wrap up. I don't know about y'all, but Cheyenne is fabulous. I think that she's amazing. Her wisdom is abundant. Her center and her heart and her peace, I think, just absolutely show through. And I am grateful for you for sharing your whole heart, your journey, your advice, and even your personal life. That's very special to us, and we thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Well, thank you so much. I love you and I adore you, and I could not be more thankful to be on this journey with you, because you're such a sweet friend and so encouraging and always uplifting. So I just love being on this journey with you. Thank you for having me on today.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, I feel the very same way. So, and we'll end it there. And this is our last Dishing with Diamonds before Christmas. So for all of you tuning in, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.